It is barely 2 weeks until the start of the season, and slowly but surely one or two Welsh Lions are starting to crank back into gear with their regions. But when will all concerned resume full training and play again? Mark Orders went in search of answers. Justin Tipuric Ospreys. Justin Tipuric resumed training with the Ospreys this week, lightly used on the Lions tour, starting just 3 games and playing for 267 minutes. He returned to the Ospreys squad fold earlier this week with a view to starting his conditioning block. The Ospreys want all their players to have at least a month's pre-season training before taking the field. That being the case, Tipuric is probably looking at a return to action in round 3 of the PRO14, when his side take on Munster on September 15th. Top rugby ref Nigel Owens says all kids coming to Wales should learn Welsh. Dan Biggar Ospreys. Dan Biggar practices his kicking image info, not back in training yet, but was ringing Steve Tandy last week to check on how the summer was going at the Ospreys. He started 4 games on tour for the Lions, with a further outing as a replacement, playing 273 minutes all told. The Ospreys stress that flexibility will be key as to when players return, but Biggar could be back with the squad over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The complication is that the former league champions have an away date in Treviso on September 23 and a trip to South Africa to face the Cheetahs the following weekend. Calls will have to be made on whether to welcome back the Lions with potentially long-haul, intercontinental travel. But the Ospreys are likely to want all of them on the pitch for the game with the Scarlets in Swansea on October 7. Rhys Webb in training. Webb is largely in the same situation as Biggar in that he has yet to resume training and no date is fixed for his return. He was part of the test mix with the Lions, coming off the bench twice, but played only 169 minutes on tour. He is likely to link again with the Ospreys squad over the next 2 to 3 weeks and will resume playing according to how quickly he attains fitness and taking into account his region's fixtures and travel demands. Alan Wynne-Jones Ospreys. Alan Wynne-Jones had a heavy workload in New Zealand. Image A copyright in for Billy Stickland. He is expected to be the last of the Ospreys Lions to return to training, given his heavy workload on tour, comprising 7 appearances, 3 of which were in tests. The Ospreys are conscious of the need to manage their skipper, who is 32 next month. No date is set for his return, but the likelihood is it will be within 3 weeks. He will want to be involved in match situations quickly and may feature off the bench late in September, but the Ospreys often have to hold him back and it could be he will not resume on-field duties until the Scarlets game on October 7. Sam Warburton Cardiff Blues. Sam Warburton during training. Image Hugh Evans Picture Agency. The Lions tour captain played in 6 matches in New Zealand, including all 3 tests, 2 of which he started. He is already believed to have started training on his own and is expected to continue in that vein before returning to the Cardiff Blues squad mix in around 2 to 3 weeks. His region suggests he could be involved in playing duties over the second half of September. Lee Halfpenny Scarlets. Lee Halfpenny, after signing a national dual contract with the Welsh Rugby Union and Scarlets, the man who has filled more column inches on the rugby pages than anyone else in Wales this summer, he clocked on for duty with the Scarlets earlier this week. It is believed he wanted to make an early start and familiarise himself with his new surroundings. Only started 2 games on tour with the Lions, with a further 2 appearances off the bench. There is a chance he could feature in the Scarlets' first game of the season, against the Southern Kings in Llanelli on September 2. Ken Owens Scarlets. Ken Owens was lightly used on the Lions tour. Owens started just 1 game on tour, with a further 5 appearances as a replacement. In all, he spent just 159 minutes on the pitch. After being so lightly used, the Scarlets skipper will be keen to resume promptly with his region and is expected back in training next Monday. Wayne Pivac has suggested all 3 of the Lions could figure in the match with the Southern Kings in round 1 of the PRO14. But nothing is definite and calls will be made on a case-by-case basis. Jonathan Davies Scarlets. Jonathan Davies had a brilliant Lions tour. Image info. The Lions man of the Test series started 5 games on tour, including every match against New Zealand. He will join Ken Owens in returning to training with the Scarlets next Monday. There is a chance he could play a part against the Southern Kings over the Pro-14's first weekend. But the Scarlets have away trips to Zebre and Ulster to follow, and they will be conscious of the need to avoid overburdening their star centre. Whatever happens, he is likely to be in the fold and firing for the date with Edinburgh in Llanelli on September 23.